May 20th. First order of business is the approval of the May 13th minutes. Folks have a chance to read them?
I
Yeah.
have.
Are okay with them? Any changes or?
No changes for me.
All set.
All right, so by consensus, we will approve the community input. You come on up.
Me? Oh. Hello, board.
Okay.
Hello.
I have to state my name.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
that.
I know who you
I am Representative Wendy Chase, Rollinsford. And actually why I'm here is long overdue. I wanted to talk to you about trying to have a little space somewhere on the town website that I could put some updates of what's going on in the state when we have sessions and bills that are passed. Not big, and you're welcome to edit, and we talked about that. I'm not gonna put too much, but I would also like to make sure that our information is there so that the residents and constituents do know how to contact. If there's any questions, I want to be able to offer that if anybody would like to come in to see a house session or a particular bill, that to let me know that, and I can have them put on the list of guests and have their names announced before session. So with your approval, I would like to start doing that. We have session on the 23rd of this month, so this week. And once things are, we're in crossover April now, which means that we're doing the Senate bills, and the Senate has the House bills. It's kind of a different time to start it, but at least we're moving forward. We already know what the governor wants to do and what he doesn't want to veto, and so it would just be good, I thought, to let people know what's going on. That's why I'm here representing everyone.
I think it's
Does
a great
that
idea.
sound
And I think, so you want to just make sure, I mentioned to you yesterday when I saw you, that you just make sure it's nonpartisan, like these are
Sure.
the bills we're working on.
Yeah.
If you have an opinion or you want to let me know what you think I should be doing, you know, your contact info, I think it's great. It's long, I wish it were a resource that were around when I was doing it. So it's a good way to
Yeah.
let people know, and so if they want to communicate with you, it's a good way to do it.
Is this information that you have on your state website, and we can just put it
Yes,
on?
actually, well, see, that's the thing, you can go on to, and I will put that link that you can go
Okay.
right to newhampshiregov.org, and you can look up the Senate side, you can look up the House, you can find out a lot of information there, see what bills are coming up, when they're going to be heard, where they've already heard. Senate bills already have an audio of testimony, which I actually listen to when we get them, because it helps me with decisions and knowing who's really passionate about what they're doing and who doesn't come to follow the bill. You kind of wonder why. So yes, I'd like to, the first one anyway, list all that information so everybody has it. They know where they can look if they want to on their own time. If they have questions, they're free to contact myself or Cecilia or Jerry. And then we also have Kat, who's our other rep. People do write. I do get information. I do have town constituents wanting to know information or asking me how I'm going to vote on things, and that's what it's all about. So we can have that conversation and they know who we are and where to find us.
So how much room is in the web page that she can utilize?
I don't think that we are anywhere near our storage capacity. It's more about, I think, a simple design that makes that kind of information easy to find and tells people that it's there, and is easy to update. But I would say, links are nice because then, you know, there is no storage with links. They just get, you know, information gets directed elsewhere.
Well,
We can talk about, like,
Well, my point was that, you know, for small items of interest and links and stuff, definitely from Facebook, but if she wanted to like have a letter go out quarterly or something, couldn't she send that through the town
we
email
totally
systems?
do that. We could absolutely.
You know, if you wanted to be a little more
Just a report or
detailed,
something.
because she
Sure.
may not have the room on the webpage.
Okay.
You know,
Well, it would go to the webpage, or, you know, so
Oh, as an attachment though, not as a.
Well, all of the emails that go out end up as part of the news blog automatically, like, and we're trying to
Yeah.
work out a different way to
Okay.
sort
Yeah.
that, but it becomes part of the newsreel.
But it's another
So-
step that you could take if you choose
Okay,
to,
all right.
if you.
Well,
wanted
things
to
are
spread.
wrapping up, so it would be good I would like to let all the constituents and everyone know where we are, what we've been doing. We're coming
Right.
towards the end of the first part of the session, so that we're gonna now be working on committees, and there's a lot going on through the summer. There's also a lot of events that are going on in Concord that people may be interested in. Like they just had the police officers memorial event, and a lot of town was shut down, and the police and fire were there, and it was a parade. I mean, things like that that people may be not aware of, they're not listening to Channel 9.
Yeah.
That I could just say, hey, by the way, really just quick things, here's what's going on,
Right.
if you wanna come in, and
I mean, there should be a
UNH had a
section,
big barbecue last
Yeah.
week, and, you know, that type of thing.
so on here, sort of like service director, other
Is
useful
that
items, on the town website.
oh, the town one?
There should be a link, you know, where it lists like, you know, who your select board members are, who
Yeah.
serve
Oh,
the
right.
planning board. It should
And I
list, you
don't
know,
even know
who
if we're
who our
on one.
legislators are too,
Yes.
would be helpful.
Yeah.
So if people wanna
Okay.
know,
Yeah,
make sure it's on here, I see everything.
but that,
Yeah, so
okay, so we need to add that.
that would be nice, I mean, that's
Okay.
It
not,
would be nice because people generally, I think, don't know.
right,
And they certainly wouldn't know how to contact you. And that, I think, is important.
There, I do too, I
yeah,
agree.
I mean, it's,
I mean, I
I
try
applaud
to
you for
go on
coming
the
in and doing this.
Rollinsford happenings, but again,
well, that only hits,
do
Well,
it.
no,
And
it's
it
where
only-
we're
it's not official, it's
Exactly,
just a.
no, it's only who happens to be
Right.
on that, and I
Yeah.
hope, oh, well, maybe word of mouth, somebody's gonna say something, so this,
Right.
you know, I've been talking to Selmy about it, and we thought
Yeah.
this may be a
I
good
think
way
it's
of
a good
really
idea.
connecting
Mhm.
and finding out what's going on.
But if you have more to say in a particular subject
Yeah,
or
I
something,
could,
I
I
would
could,
send it to you and
sure.
have you just.
If
do
something,
it.
yeah, is really
We'll be
going
able
on
to
or
go.
wrapping up
Yeah.
the end of the sessions
So
and.
people know how things went.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, well, we'll work on it, but thank you for the,
Yeah.
go ahead, and I'll figure out what to
Great
do.
idea.
What's the process?
I had,
So if you want to give me a call at some point,
okay.
we can talk
Sit down
through.
and do that.
I think in concept, we're all in favor of it, we just need
Yeah,
to see what you want to do.
concept is
do
what's
it.
important, and then when you have a chance and it's a good time,
Okay,
we
okay.
can sit down and chat, or you can give me a call and
Great.
we'll talk about different
Yeah,
options
and I
for
can
the
show you some
logistics
of
of it.
the information that I would think would be important, and then we can decipher through
We can
that.
figure out how to best disseminate it, I think, that way. You know, is it just a blast to the town like we do for like, don't forget to
Right.
register your dogs or
Exactly.
whatever, or is it
And it
just a
might be
section on the website? Yeah, it could be,
Different,
right, exactly.
depending on the information.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think that's a good use.
It would be good to see also, I'm anxious about the feedback, to see, you know,
Right.
if we do hear. I mean, maybe no one's interested, I don't think
That could
that's
be.
the case, but even if there's, 15, 20 people that are interested, that's why I was elected, that's what I'm there for, to represent, and
Yeah, I
I
think
wanna
that's
make
great.
sure I have that opportunity to.
It would be exciting to see
I think
how
so.
it would change, how often you hear from people, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, great, thank you, I
Thank you
appreciate
for
that.
doing that.
I will be in touch, and we'll work it out and see what we need, okay? Thank you all,
Thank
enjoy the rest of your evening, you too.
Any other community input tonight so far? All right, George, you wanna come up or take care of the highway department?
Just on, talk with Mrs., Willing, culverts,
Okay, oh, yeah,
and they are gonna purchase the culverts without any issue.
the rest of the road?
That,
Or-
the culverts that need to be fixed in that, on that section,
Okay, that,
that will not, the driveway one in front of that house.
Yeah.
They got a couple of driveways that go into fields that need culverts, and they're gonna buy them, and we'll put them, as we're going by, we just drop them in place.
so we don't have to worry about that?
Yeah, it'll be
Okay,
done.
well, that's good then.
And they'll cut the check, it's not gonna go to the town, I'll have a check from them to go, they'll deliver the pipe right to the site. I talked to the distributor today.
And so that's the one we were just talking about, that was last week's,
For Sligo.
the Sligo, that
Is this the
one that
Sligo?
we weren't sure if we were gonna be able to get it down or what, but they're
Well,
gonna
we're
pay
still
for
not
it.
sure if we're gonna
That's good.
get the permit in time to do
The other part, but we
the
know.
cross culvert. We may end up putting the cross culvert back in the road,
Right.
from the
If we have
catch
to.
basin across it, because we ain't gonna be able to go without having that
Right,
before the road's paved.
all right,
I can eliminate the top one, eliminate one,
Right.
I'll be able to eliminate the second one.
okay.
But still, I mean, one reason.
Yeah, I suppose
And
I
I
just get one.
talked with Will about the issues this way.
Okay,
Town apparently took the culvert out that went in front of the farm and made the cross culverts because of an issue when they used to haul milk. The truck
Okay.
used to crush the culvert all the
oh,
time
it's too heavy,
before the roads were paved.
I
Oh.
see,
Right.
I got you.
So they decided.
And that's why they went that
Sam
direction,
Mick went across the
Ah.
road and kept
Okay.
crossing the road instead of,
gotcha.
so. And there was another culvert that the town took out when they did Pinch Hill, Connor Pinch Hill, that
Okay.
they'd like to have back in, so they were gonna buy that one, so they can get it where they dumped the culvert or stuff there, so.
So they'll take care of that one too?
So they would purchase, they'll be purchasing those culverts. There's no, and there will be no other culverts needed on even the other section, because as I said today, most of them are already on a downhill slope, so they won't affect.
Okay,
But she needs 3 extra driveways that she can purchase.
well, it's nice that we're not in talk, so that's a plus.
No,
Very nice.
Will said she's more than willing.
They understand why, so,
Yeah, I mean, it's,
right,
you know, they wanna have the problem solved too, without any further issues.
right, right.
So, but that's all I have.
Well, that's fair enough.
Well, I went down the road yesterday from the
Huh.
Bear to Silver.
Okay.
What a challenge that is. I mean,
How's
it's
your
gonna be,
front end?
I didn't really slow.
Yeah, you have to, I mean, it's tough, isn't it?
That's-
It
the other
really
concern
is
that
the
they all
road that
have.
needed to be the
I know,
priority.
I've heard that from a number of the
The
residents.
concern they have is when it's paved, there's gonna be a racetrack.
Well, that's possibly
And,
Well,
a problem.
maybe,
yeah.
but, I mean, it still has to be fixed. I
It
mean,
still has to
you
be
could grind it, you could take the hot top out, make it a dirt road, and
No.
then you're gonna buy a grader, so what do you want to do?
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So,
No, it
in
definitely
the long run,
is.
it's much more expensive to maintain.
Yeah,
than it
absolutely.
is.
Yeah,
So,
so I've seen some of your work and it's.
Yeah, I was
yeah.
down the other day too.
Yeah,
The big culvert that I was thinking of changing, but we found it's a cement culvert, it was fine,
Oh.
that was
Oh,
buried.
good, okay.
I mean, it was under, we couldn't see it when we were down
Right,
there, and there's a
right.
metal one next to it, so we just cleaned that whole area out the other day.
Okay.
So the water's flowing good down there, and we're starting to do some ditch work, so.
Okay.
I'll talk with them, I talked, like I said, I talked to the culvert company today, they're okay with us getting a check from them to get the culverts and having delivered down there, so it'll be nothing.
Well, it
that we
takes
have
care
to-
of one of the things on here. How about, so we haven't heard back from, Royal Tanner about the DES permit then? Well, then I'll table that then, we have nothing to talk about.
I
All
was gonna try to call him and see if we could, if it's possible to just get that, I'd rather keep it on one side of the road.
right.
I mean, if it's possible without getting through the permit part of it, because, I mean, we're not changing that, we're just taking the water from this side, so we put it where it should be going in the first place.
Right.
You know, but it's interfering with the existing culvert, I mean, so I was, maybe he can push something on him, I don't know. You know, these guys deal with these people all the time, it's a lot more than we do. I don't know if it's worth a phone call.
how is the road going to be a 2-lane road where those Jersey areas are? It's,
Bring them back.
What's that?
Take them back, as soon as we can fix that.
but is it gonna be two cars?
It's 2
on the
lanes
road?
now.
Oh, not really.
It is, but you,
Maybe you could have a car the size of mine, maybe, but,
no, I mean, if, we're still gonna move them back. If we took the barriers out of it, we're gonna gain 2 feet.
On
If
each
we put
side?
guardrails.
yeah.
You know, guardrails don't take the space of the Jersey barriers, and the Jersey barriers don't allow the snow to go underneath them, so we have that cluster of snow in the middle of it.
Yeah,
So we gotta seriously think about putting guardrails in there, whether we build them ourselves and put them in,
yeah,
or whatever.
okay.
But that's it
And
definitely,
so it's definitely gonna be,
you know, I mean, they didn't have any guardrails down here before,
Yeah.
but, you know,
yeah.
that's a tough spot not to have something,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, come down, for sure.
you know? So, there should be definitely the basic inexpensive guardrails there that, you know.
Yeah.
But the Jersey barriers take up so much space, they're 2 feet wide at the base,
Okay,
Right.
and you're losing, you know, you're losing 3 feet of road.
yeah, yeah,
Actually, the ones on the right going towards Bear Road are actually still on the edge of the bus stop. We can move them
I
back
was going the
another,
other direction.
we can move them back a little bit. The other side, we got plenty of room, we could drag them back if we had to, but I prefer not using the Jersey barriers if we don't have to.
Yeah, yeah,
So, you know, it's something
it's
to
definitely
think
tight
about.
there,
You know, and that was in, I think that's in you know, the $6,000 there, they're the price I got on guardrails, but I'm waiting for Chris, he said there's a company who can probably get them cheaper, or we can put them in ourselves, so.
Any other questions for George? You covered both the things we have on our list for
No, and, I mean, things are going good, I mean, we're getting stuff done, we're gonna try to get the mowing done tomorrow in town, and we haven't had a chance to touch, so,
Raining,
well, yeah.
We've had a
rain.
couple of
And
hot
that's-
days and now
I haven't heard from Chris
grass
about
grows
paving
quick.
because of the weather.
so, right, of course.
So we're
So
behind
you're
on
getting
that.
delayed.
That's helping
That's
us
okay, that's
a
helping you a
little bit.
little, yeah.
We're supposed
But,
to have some nasty weather later on in the week too, right, so, sorry.
I need to.
Next week so far looks better, but who can tell really?
They can't tell us tomorrow, so.
Yeah.
Uh, No, everything's been good. We made some pretty good money with aluminum cans, so just to give you a heads up.
That's good.
We've taken 2 loads over there and, you know, we've taken $500 back each time, so we're close to it.
Certainly better than costing us money.
Better than putting it in the trash.
And throwing in the trash for sure. I agree with that for sure.
So, yeah, we've got that so far. And, I have one applicant for a position at the transfer station. I'm just waiting, I hadn't talked to Edward about it, so I just got it tonight. Guy here in town on Pine Street, so I'll bring that forward after all.
Okay. Great. Anything else for George for tonight?
No.
All right, I don't have anything either, well,
All right,
we don't see you before, or we won't see you next week, it's a holiday, so have a
great.
great.
Oh, just a heads up too, my wife's being operated on the 3rd, a knee surgery, so
Okay.
I'll probably be
Of course.
most of that week.
Okay.
But
I'll be there, sure.
I'll still be available by phone if anything's going on.
Wish her a speedy recovery.
So, yeah, she's been putting this off long enough.
She's ready.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a good night,
Thanks,
George.
George.
Take care.
So Bob is coming later, you said, right? Mark was here, did you not have any?
He has a purchase order in the
Oh,
file.
okay, so we'll deal with that afterwards then. Alrighty, so we'll go to town admin then, newsletter content, is there a copy of it here somewhere that I?
There's a copy there. It's not formatted yet, it's just about what it has to say, and do you have any edits about how it says what it says, or what it says?
I have a couple of issues. Why did my phone number change on my two?
Where is your what now?
It's the town number instead of my home number on the Family Fun Day and the Rollinsford Education Foundation.
You want your home number?
Well, I don't have a voicemail here or anything.
Well, no, you don't, so we can take
Either that or you
message.
can put my email, my town email account if you want, but either one, but not, I mean, 25,
Well,
whatever.
so-
Do you want it
It's
at
in
home?
the back.
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the place
And what
anyway.
is that?
603-742-8226. So on both of them. And I thought we only had one election this year.
We only have one election.
Well, what is November 6th?
Oh, it's gone.
It's gone. Thank you.
Mhm.
You're checking to see if that's reading.
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay.
Must just be on.
Oh, it's on my copy I made.
Oh, I
From
guess I
the-
don't have it on
No,
mine.
I was gonna say, it's on
Yeah,
my
there's
copy.
there's a new one.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
If she's there, work ahead of time.
Well, because I did my highlighting, so I
yeah.
wouldn't forget.
All right, what do we got? That's your full, that's good for them. Education Foundation, Sunday.
Oh, it's something else. Didn't. Okay, one other thing on the Rollinsford Education Fund, oh, maybe it's already fixed. Maybe I should.
I'm going to get my working copy.
To bring the arts to the children of Rollinsford,
Got it.
okay? And Sunday, Yeah, that's it.
That's ready there for reforms.
Was there something on that?
Yeah, it's, under the Education Foundation is to bring the arts, with an S, the arts,
The arts.
But
to
at-
the children
at
of
the-
Rollinsford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. The arts.
The- yeah.
Okay.
Where it says mail it in on the front page,
Yeah,
it says avoid the rush, and then it says, sorry, we cannot accept credit card or,
I think
I
that,
know. I can't find the rest of that sentence. It will come. It's right there in there, but it didn't get printed out.
oh,
yeah,
okay,
it's
so.
overlapped with something else,
Oh,
so it's got
okay, so
blacked
it-
out, so
okay.
it's there.
All right, well, that's fair enough, all right. Other than that, on the front page, anyways, I don't see, am I dropping this off at some point this week, you said?
Yes, please.
What day do they need it?
What
By
day would you
Friday,
like?
By Friday?
so it really can be up to
Do you
you.
want to do it Thursday?
Check my calendar, I'm letting you know right now, let's see. I definitely don't want to do it Friday, because I'm not working that day.
No.
Okay.
So I'd be happy to drop it off on Thursday morning.
Okay.
Thank you. At some point prior to that, if you could come by here and get, we'll make sure newsletters are here, we'll get the newsletters to you, but tax bill forms, we have other stuff, and envelopes, we have other stuff that needs to go.
We do want, I
Um,
thought that was the whole point.
well, the point is
They
stuffing
print it
envelopes and
there.
mailing in bulk mail rate.
I thought they did it all day.
I think actually they may have their own envelopes, but we have tax bill,
I
like
thought they
printed
printed it on
forms.
there,
No, well, they do, but we give them like blank forms and they print bills onto our blank forms. We send them an electronic file, but they're printed forms.
no? Right.
The tax bills are.
Or a yeah, a specific printed.
Well, I'll be happy to drop them off if they're here. Okay. And are we still going through the newsletter? Are we?
I'm good with it. This is a lot of information. I like it.
Oh,
Yeah,
under
yeah,
the
yeah.
select board,
Yes.
I wanna thank Mike for his, and it stops. The
Yeah.
last
I've been
line.
cut off, much like we cannot accept
Oh,
credit card
okay.
or,
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, we
I
can't
think that was
accept credit
something
card.
else.
okay.
Hot stuff, don't forget to get your permits. So here's a question, actually, we should ask Mark. So if you have a, like a little fire
Yeah.
pit things, you need to have a permit, huh?
That's
Yes.
correct.
Any outdoor open burning.
Yes.
You can get seasonal permits.
I wonder how many
Yes.
folks that have those things actually do it.
Well, if they don't, they could get
They
a
get in
hefty
trouble, right?
fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, there you go. All right.
So, yeah, you know about the trash talk and the mail it in, they kind of end too,
Both of
at
them.
the
Yeah.
bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
I'll
think
switch
they're
them up a little
boxes
bit.
that extended and got
Okay,
cut off before
okay.
we printed, so
Alright.
we'll fix that.
Okay,
Thank you.
other than that, that's good to know.
And so you got, also, this, the support your local river park, does that go towards the MS score?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes,
So that
that's-
counts as one of the outreach?
Oh, yes,
Oh, that's good. Very
yes, we're
good.
very pleased with that.
Good job. Both of you.
Okay, on my copy, under trash talk, I have get connected, that's not on this one anymore.
It's on the other page, and it's actually, it's on page 2, and then, or it might not be on that copy. I might have pulled it off. Don't worry about it. It's
Okay.
there.
Okay,
Oh, what is it?
This
Get
is right here,
connected.
right here, subscribe.
Yeah, it moved to page two.
Oh, there it is, it's right there, I see it, it's there,
Yeah,
yep, okay,
but it moved to the top actually, but you don't know that.
okay.
Oh, there it is. Just
She's
subscribe.
putting the Tetris pieces together.
Right? Oh, good for you. We appreciate it, thank you. Not easy to do layout, so.
Yeah. That's great,
Yes, thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Alrighty, okay, Space Needs Committee draft chart, the shared facilities director. Do you want to give an update? I'm not sure remember what the email said, not running along, so
It's quite all right, so,
I had it splitting, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Allergies.
I met with the superintendent and Mr. Fortier, the facilities director for the school. It was a great meeting. They're excited about moving forward. They're very open to the idea of sharing resources in terms of this position or really in terms of other things. If there's a way that we can do things more efficiently, they're open to that, and that was really good to hear. So in terms of the long-range plan, I discussed the option of sharing the position by a certain percentage of his salary and benefits, the cost of his position. They're open to that for the goal of one day having somebody who's charged with taking care of all of the town buildings and making sure that we have a plan and are maintaining properly all of our town buildings. That would be something to evolve over time, and of course is subject to their board's approval and this board's approval, and we don't know how much that would cost. And so, by way of trying to evaluate this building to some degree, we will also learn how much time he thinks, you know, what split might be an appropriate split. However, if that's a 50-50 split, we know that that's not going to be accomplished probably in a first year. It would be something to work toward. You all know that the school has a different fiscal calendar and plans their budget further out than the town does.
Right.
So there's that challenge. So both parties would have to budget for it, and then it's subject to the current boards at that time to continue that or start that or whatever. So that's a ways away, but it's good to know that he's open to that in that position. He also said, though, that he is planning his own retirement within the next 3 years or so. And that's not really firm, but it may not be him specifically who's fulfilling this function for us
Right.
if indeed this happens. But he's open to it, and the superintendent supports the idea, and so that's really the first step. As far as sharing the position in a long-term way. So as far as this building is concerned, we had a long discussion about what the goal was and how to get there. And what we determined is that there are a lot of moving parts. There's a lot to this building. We have a couple of different reports that relay some information. We have some information, not a lot of information. And so what exactly were we looking for? And so we talked about trying to answer questions for the voters so that they would feel informed enough to make a decision
Right.
when there's a decision to be made. And so the first step, so part of the problem at this point is that he doesn't have a whole lot of time. He's very busy with the school. He's not just managing the maintenance there, but he's also doing the maintenance there. They don't have a lot of maintenance staff. So, you know, in the eventuality, should we share the position, the money that we can pay for them would help them hire staff that could do some of the maintenance and free him up to do more of the planning kind of evaluation chores. But because they don't have a whole lot of staff there at this point, he's limited in how much time he can spend here. But they want to help, and so we are going to take this piecemeal. And so what they've offered for this first step is that Mr. Fortier could spend a day here, and we could talk about what we know. We can talk about the Banwell report and what information's in there, what we know that's been done to this building since then. And then he could spend the day looking around the building and coming up with a task list for us of things that need to be evaluated and looked into. And then he would try to find us costs for those things. For example, he suggested we should have an asbestos study done on this building to determine if there's any asbestos, and how much would it cost to remediate the asbestos. So there are a lot of pieces. Looking at it from functionality, there are a lot of different, safety, different ways to evaluate the building, and asbestos is certainly one of them because of the age of the building. So he would make in that day, the goal would be to create a task list, and he may or may not get as far as putting price tags on each of the task lists for us. And so we'll take that information, bring it back to the board, and see about next steps with his time. So for this first day, they can handle, they will donate his time for the day if we can wait for school to be out in approximately 4 weeks. If this process is gonna take some time, noting that if you wanna move this along a bit sooner than that, then he could potentially come within the next week or two. To do that, because school's not out yet, they would like for us to pay for our custodian to go over there for the day. So
To have a body.
yeah, to keep the backlog at a minimum for the loss of him for the day. So, but that's just this first step. Because he's busy over there, they're not sure how much we need, how long it's gonna take to get the answers we need, and how much they can spare him. So we're gonna just take a step at a time. We may get to the point where they're looking for more compensation time from our custodian. And I spoke with him about that, and he's willing to make his schedule work and try to, he's open to that. Our custodian, Mr. Fogarty, is open to working with us in the school. He already fills in over there on occasion. So,
I've seen all of them.
yeah, so he works for them sometimes. They have a good relationship. He knows how to do the job. So it could work out nicely, but there will be some expense at some point depending on how much time is required to get the answers we need.
So if we wait 4 weeks, they can, he'll donate the first day or so
Right.
and do that. Of course, if we wait 4 weeks and he says he can't do it, or it's more than what he can handle or he feels comfortable doing, and we've wasted 4 weeks.
So he
Not
will
gonna
get
answer.
us some answers, and some answers is better than
No
no
answers,
information at all. It just may not be enough that,
Or we
it's
can have
not,
him come over and we pay Richard to go over per day, and how much does that possibly be?
Which is salary times
I mean,
hours it
so-
works.
yeah, it's
Minimal, I'm assuming.
it's minimal. It's minimal compared to what it would cost to hire somebody to get the information we're
Right.
looking for.
So you're confident that he's the right person to do this?
I'm confident that the price tag is workable. You can, certainly you can pay for more comprehensive, better information. I'm not, I know that he can lend us some information we don't have. But are we gonna end up with the full picture and all the answers that you want in order to put something on the ballot for March? I'm not clear if he's got that expertise, and I'm not clear if we've got enough time of his to figure that out. But your alternative is gonna be really
More
expensive.
Much more
Right,
expensive.
right. So, explain the compensation part of it again,
So
how
there,
that would work.
so we're in a step-by-step and you're approving every step of this. Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll keep revisiting this, but at this point, we have a day for free if you can wait. Or for Richard's,
No, I'm not talking about that part of it.
so going forward.
Going forward, after that one day of bringing him in here and having paid part of his salary, how will that work?
Are you talking about like initially for assessing this building?
Maybe my concern will help you understand what my question is.
All right, okay.
So my concern is that if they're, and I'm just using numbers because I don't know what he makes, okay? So say he makes $100,000, I know that's not what he makes, but if he makes $100,000 and we're gonna pay a quarter of his expense, so $25,000. So is that $25,000 going to be in our budget, or are we going to have to pay them to offset that $25,000?
So,
Do you see where
I
I'm
see-
going?
yeah,
See where I'm going?
I was
wanna
wondering
know
if you're
who
talking about now or
controls-
later.
No,
So-
later, down the road,
So, that's all open for discussion.
okay.
But I would say that it's not just $100,000, it's $100,000 plus benefits and payroll taxes.
Yeah,
A percentage of that,
well, it's his whole package, yeah.
which is why
Well, it
it's
might be
going to be.
100,000 maybe,
Which is
yeah.
why it's gonna be a growing percentage over time as we can move it into our budget and slowly increase it into something that we know is workable. And so maybe we'll find that it's too expensive and it's not workable, or maybe
Yeah.
we'll keep the percentage really low, even though we need more of his time than that.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a certain level of expertise, maybe, the job description that we would hold for him would be much narrower than we would really want it to be if that's the.
You may also find that having him over here a few times, just doing the cursory work, that you don't want to go forward with a long-term plan,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's more of a next year budget issue, right?
Right, and so depending how fast we can do something and how much we can learn and understand what his capacity is for us, I don't wanna sign up for something that I'm gonna be obligated to
Right.
pay a percentage to the school district that I don't have control out of negotiations of what he gets paid.
You're right, and this is gonna
That's
be,
where I'm concerned.
this is gonna be complicated at the least and perhaps not workable
Yeah.
because
Right.
he's gonna make whatever salary he's gonna make, and what if this board changes and decides that we don't wanna do that at all?
Right.
And I don't know that this board can obligate that board in that way, maybe there's a contract that supersedes it and then that makes it workable.
Yeah,
I think there's a way to make it work if there's a will, but
Yeah.
for sure there's some stuff to be
Yeah,
worked out about it.
yeah,
you know.
especially in 3 years when he plans to retire and they have to fulfill that position again, we wanna make sure that we're not stuck on a salary, cause it could be 25% higher
Well-
than he's getting, depending who they get.
Well, right, it would,
Depending what they're hiring.
so I think that's part of, maybe it's some kind of agreement with the school that, maybe we have somebody on the interview committee and a vote in the hiring, or, there's some other say about we're not willing to spend more than, yes, it's 25%, but we wouldn't want the salary to be more than X, or, I think they're absolutely valid concerns,
Mm.
and we're gonna talk a lot more before this goes anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just,
You wouldn't be able to do it this year, right? It would have to be part of, would really need to be part of the budget.
Well, he can do it
discussions next
for
year.
free in the summer.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
and if we need to, we
And
could have
then
it over an
we'll-
offset.
that's as
know
much
more.
as-
right, that's
Yeah.
as much as 2019 is
Right,
gonna do.
and I'm
Right,
good with that,
right.
but entering into
That's,
all
yeah.
the things you're asking about, I think is a much larger conversation.
Yes.
Well,
Budget, so.
well, because you're dealing with two different,
Yes.
authority people
Uh-huh.
and two different budgets and stuff. I would much rather see it in our budget, what we feel we can spend on it, and then make that available to him, or paying the district what we feel we can at his rate, but not to say that we will pay,
A
a
percent-
quarter of it
yeah, it
or
may not be a
something.
percentage,
It
right.
may have to only be what we feel this year we can do,
Absolutely, which is
Okay.
why, I said percentage, but maybe it's not, maybe we're not gonna be thinking about it in terms of a percentage, maybe we're
Yeah.
thinking about it in terms of a number of hours, which of course relates to a percentage, but the
Yeah.
point is that it would be small to start, and maybe it would just be for 1 year in order to do a full assessment of all the buildings and come up with a preventative maintenance plan everywhere. But the goal, to my mind, is to eliminate department heads who have specific expertise from having to determine how old their boiler is and what it needs for maintenance, which is not their expertise, so that we can really get much better at and have regular maintenance, but really know what our assets are and know what needs to be repaired when, and have somebody implement a plan so that if nothing else, the department heads know to change the filters every 3 months or something.
I mean, I'm all for doing this, but I think this building is definitely the priority. I think the other two buildings, maybe not this year.
Not this
Just-
year, to be
yeah,
clear,
yeah.
I'm sorry if I
No,
didn't
maybe I'm
introduce
not-
that really
no,
well,
no,
but
no.
yes, those are concepts for
Down the
budgeting years
road,
down
yeah,
the road,
okay.
like goals.
Okay.
For this year,
Move
definitely for
straight to-
19, we're talking about this building.
Yeah, if you wanna move forward on, other plans for the police facility, I
This
think we
is-
should be working.
Yeah.
A lot of the stumbling block points the last time around, when people asked questions, but what are we doing with this
Yep.
building?
Yep.
That we didn't have a concrete plan for, so I think it
Right.
was serving in the long run.
Yeah, sure, so I definitely think that whatever plans we have right here will get us going. And then, then the next year, we can add a little bit of time for, because the other buildings are so much smaller and so much newer than this.
Right,
So
right.
their needs aren't, it's more about what you have in there that needs to be, like you say, your boilers or, whatever, hot water tanks, or whatever there is, roofs.
Yes.
Those kind of things that
This
we
is the-
need to
the
look at,
bigger- yeah.
but this is the bigger picture. Okay.
So the decision then needs to be made, do we wanna wait the 4 weeks or have Fortier, right, Mr. Fortier come in and have Mr. Fogarty, the Fs, Mr. Fs, come in for each other, so.
I mean, I think we can wait 4 more weeks. I mean, we've waited this long. So, I mean, what's 4 more weeks?
I could go either way, to be honest.
Yeah.
I-
I mean, if they need
Having-
Mr. Fogarty, he certainly can go over there for a couple hours or whatever. I don't know what they need, but I think,
Richard's willing to help out when he needs to help out, he says, so I appreciate that. So.
yeah. But I would say we can,
If you wanna wait until.
We can wait, yeah.
I guess we'll wait.
I don't see the need not to, but if you, I'm good either way.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I would caution is that it's another 4 weeks where we're waiting to, but I mean, get that, it's already May, it's almost June, so.
Right,
So,
you know.
I get it.
It's when school gets out, which is third week of
Third week of
June. I mean,
Okay. Alrighty then, so we will table that for now then, until June.
but you'll help them.
Yes, I will get back to
Thank
them.
you.
Alright, SRPC visit. So the Stratford Regional Planning Commission Executive Director would like to,
Yes,
would like to come speak with us either on July 1st or July 15th to go over services, how the commission can be helpful to us and where they could use our help. What date seems to be better for folks? But these are the 2 dates that they suggested?
they suggested those 2 dates. I think that they would be open to, a completely different time frame. I just, they reached out with those dates, but I think if you want something else, you can certainly encounter with something else.
I think July 1st is the 4th of July week, which I don't know what my plans are yet, so I'm not sure, but I would go for the 15th just to get away from the 4th of July week.
15th.
Are we meeting that week? What day is 4th of July?
It's Thursday.
Are we meeting that week? Okay, all right, but I would stay away from that week and just go to
Yeah,
the
that's a
15th.
good.
15th, all right, so you'll let them
I will
know.
let them know, thank you.
Also though, so folks are thinking about it, we should put a call out on our, like we do for openings on boards, other boards and commissions. We are entitled to 2 commissioners on the Stratford Regional Planning Commission. We only have 1 at the moment.
Is it?
I think so.
We're volunteering.
I think it's
Oh, is that what that is? Not the thing about board? So if we want to put that out, so folks know that there's a vacancy, if they want to step up and volunteer for it, we can do that.
Did we put something out for the budget committee vacancy?
I'm working that out with John, it's not out yet.
Okay.
So I can go out at the same time, then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or whenever. Okay, Eversource proposal. So Eversource has made a proposal, or their contractor has made a proposal to us We have heard back from the municipal association, and they tell us it's a gray area, and that towns have done both. They've either gone through their town meeting, or they've gone the route of, it's already in their budget because they're already paying those
Okay.
rates. It's not a new thing. It has been challenged, so.
I did reach, yes, that's correct. They also suggested for more clarity that I reach out to
Yeah.
the Department of Revenue. And I have done that. Our advisor is willing to look at the contract language when we get it,
Okay.
if that makes you all more comfortable. But she has likewise seen people, you know, because it's in the operating budget and you can cover it in the operating budget, there's not really a risk of putting the town on the hook for some kind of big balance or future payment because you're already covering it in your operating budget. So I will get the contract. I've already reached out about the contract and he didn't respond, and I think that's because he reached out about the streetlight bills. So we got him some streetlight bills, and you will get a proposal for streetlights
Streetlights as
if you
well.
wanna include those as
Yeah,
well.
that's a big ticket item too.
Because that is a very big ticket item, that would be fantastic, that's a $36,000 budget line that we could
Just on
reduce
streetlights.
significantly,
Yeah,
right?
great.
So,
It would help.
I'll let you know when I get the contract, what she says about it.
Okay, so we'll put that, and I hate to say it again, but we'll table that then until we hear back from the contractor, thank you. Recreation positions, we have some new folks hired tonight?
Do.
All right. Summer rec starts on what day? Coming up.
Don't ask.
Oh, it's on here.
In the letter, I think.
Oh,
it
no,
says.
it's not. Oh, June 24th,
Okay, so,
for 8 weeks.
all right, coming up.
All right, so do you want to, we're not gonna sign these, but we're gonna approve them. The reason why is
Is there a
because.
typo in there?
No, it doesn't contain the words that, you were hired depending on your,
Background check.
background check, so we wanna make sure that that's added on. But I believe we'll be okay with any of these.
So we can revise it and you can perhaps
And then I'll
stop in
have it on
sometime
there.
later this week.
Well, I could actually sign them.
Yeah, we can
It
change it.
doesn't say the chair.
Oh, no, you can
Says
sign, that's fine,
Wells, but-
we
yeah,
just
we'll
need to vote to
We'll
approve
just
these
vote
folks.
that we'll sign them,
That's an exception.
after they add that clause, that's all.
All right, so,
They're doing this, and I'll do
Okay.
100.
Oh, okay, so council we
do you want to do the motion then? For, you
Um,
do them as a package, you won't, unless you want to vote on them separately.
We have a motion, I'll make a motion to, offer Samantha, how do you say her last name?
Miss Terry.
Miss Terry, as the position of Camp Raleigh Assistant Director. Tricia Del Grosso
Yes.
for the position of Team Camp Director. Thomas Riley in the position of Camp Counselor. And Melanie Kent for position of Camp Raleigh Director. Yeah, Assistant Director, yeah.
Yes.
All of them have been interviewed, management positions are interviewed by Caroline and myself as well, and we've interviewed and support these positions.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion?
And,
I already hired the assistant director, no?
no. we
No,
haven't hired
you've only
any of them
done
because we haven't-
counselors so far.
Just counselors,
Oh,
yeah.
okey-dokey. Any other discussion, question, anything? All right, so all those in
Will
favor
you
of
give me those names? then?
hiring the names already outlined by
You can give these.
say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, so.
All right, so I will take those back,
Perfect.
get them modified,
Yeah.
and then sign them.
Happy to have you sign off on
Okay.
them. All right. Chief, come on up. If not, I'll just keep rambling on about building permits.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
Just a couple of quick questions, items I should say. Let's start with the big one, I guess. The first item, purchase order number 1680 to WatchGuard for $5,020. That will come out of our equipment line item, and that's to replace the in-cruiser digital camera for the new vehicle. And that was an anticipated expense this year to replace that.
Are you ready, son?
You said that was
Yeah.
anticipated?
It was anticipated, yes.
I'll move purchase order 1680 to WatchGuard for $5,020 for the in-cruiser digital video.
Second?
So moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? We've established that it's already an anticipated expense, and it's been budgeted for. Any other questions? All right. So, all those in favor of purchase order 1680, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
The class that we were going to send Will to in New Jersey for the breach for the SWAT team has been canceled. So they're trying to reschedule at some point, hopefully in New Hampshire this time. So it'll be a little bit easier
Yeah?
for all of us, but just to let you know
Okay.
that that's happened. That's all that I have for you. Anything for me?
We have a
Non-public.
non-public or personnel, right?
Yep.
I don't have anything else for the chief. Anyone else? All right, so that's the motion to go into non-public session.
Make a motion, we go non-public as personnel.
Second that?
All right, so moved and seconded, we'll do a roll call. Denise? Miles?
Yes.
Mike, yes, we're in non-public session to deal with a personnel issue. The ones that we revised. My headache is finally starting to go away, so I don't know. So maybe the extra pound I'm kicking in, I don't know. All righty, so in lieu of Mr. England having to leave, we are not going to go into, workshop to deal with policies anyways. So the next thing we have on the agenda is building permit, schedule of fees. So,
That's printed for you.
is it right
It's
here in
one of
front
your
of me?
printouts, yes.
How about that now?
So this is what Durham uses, and
Ah, yes.
people here just wanted you to have a look at it
Right.
and see that there's fees for different things. There are fees that we don't charge fees for.
Right,
So it's not a proposal to change,
the fees, it's just
What
the
we-
structure. Yeah.
well, right, so primarily, our fee structure is $25 plus $10 per thousand. And they're not proposing to change that, but maybe add these, for reference, by the way, this is what, Durham charges,
Mhm.
but also, we don't charge for health inspector inspections and some of these other things. So, Mr. Clark just wanted you to look at this and review and consider adopting this document and revising it for all.
To fit with the volunteer fee schedule.
Right.
I know that, so like for, what am I gonna say, so for non-permitted, fee for non-permitted work, I think this is actually very helpful. We currently, maybe we want to consider doing this actually, we don't have, I'm fine with keeping the fee structure, or the fees themselves where they are for right now, but this has been something that we've been, we chase down people all the time for doing work without getting a building permit. In fact, I drove by your house, on the way up by your house, before you make the hill around the corner, there's a sign out front for someone, I don't know,
Or it's a roofing company.
to do roofing, which I'm assuming means they're gonna be showing up soon to do their roof. I remember seeing a building permit for that.
Well-
We see the list, so, but maybe they have, but,
Where is the list?
It's on the drive, and it's shared with you, and I can certainly share it
No,
with you.
I can go find it, I just wanted to make sure, because I am not, well, I mean, we sent a letter out to an individual because we saw action, but I see a lot of action happening, and I don't know if those people have one.
right.
So
So
you
it's
can
gonna be-
email me addresses and I can check, or you can check the document yourself, either way.
Okay, no, I can check it, because I know what the address is and stuff, but, if we're gonna do one, we need to make sure that
Of
we're
course.
cautious.
If we're aware of them,
others
yeah,
if we know.
for sure.
Well, when you have a dumpster in your yard, it's
Yeah, it's kinda hard
clear
not to
that
be aware,
something's
right?
happening.
Right, I'm not lying, just, yes, right.
So, I'm just saying, did we ever hear back from the one that we sent out?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have to say that one letter, once upon a time, the person, it turned out, didn't really require a permit, but everybody else did require a permit, and they
Right.
came in, and they got it and did it, and people become compliant, and
Okay.
that's
Right.
really great.
Good,
So
good.
Yeah.
it is kind of a, it's about equity. It makes sure that our
Right.
valuation, because it has
Right.
assessing implications, it makes sure that
Right,
our
sure.
assessments stay
Yeah.
equitable. But
Yep.
mostly people are good about it, and their contractors didn't know, or didn't check, or
Sure.
they didn't know, or didn't check, so.
Or it's just a little job, it doesn't have to have it, or, you know.
Or it started as a little job, and they
And then
thought
it
it would be under the
ended up being-
threshold, and it was a
Right,
bigger
right.
job.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, I just wanna make sure we're being fair if we're going after, because we saw something more active and
Right.
that's all.
Well, if we're aware
I
of
can go and
something.
look and see, and if I can't find it, then I'll ask you.
We always do send a letter if
Yeah.
it's something we're aware of.
Yeah.
We, you can't send letters to people that don't come to our attention.
Mhm.
Right.
But when things come to our attention, we check and we send letters.
Non-contract work, I think this is something that we might want to seriously consider adopting. Because a lot of folks, the homeowner will do the work themselves, or has a neighbor or a cousin or their father, or whatever, is a contractor, and they'll do the labor for free for them if they buy the materials. It happens. But there still are building fee implications to that, but perhaps not to the same level as if you hired a contractor. So I guess what is Durham? Durham not the only town, but I've seen that, I have been looking at other examples, trying to see if this is maybe a problem in search of a solution or another way around. But for non-contract work, such as when a homeowner furnishes his or her, or has furnished free labor, or purchases the materials, the fee shall be based on the actual cost of material with a multiplier of 2 applied. For example, for total materials of $5,000, 5,000 times 2 equals 10,000. The permit fee would be figured on $10,000 evaluation. When there's a disagreement between the applicant and the building official in determining an appropriate fee, using out of the methods, the building official shall then use the latest building valuation data report as published, blah, blah, blah.
Which is
So-
typically what he uses now.
This permit fee
Since we
will
don't
then be
have this.
based on this assessment. So I mean, because we'll have people like, oh, well, I'm doing my own roof. They'll come in, and I only bought whatever it cost me at Home Depot or at Lowe's, wherever they bought them. This, maybe not so much in the last couple of years, but when I first got here, we had a number of people doing that, doing the roofing themselves. Like, well, you're telling me it cost $10,000, but that's what it would cost if I hired someone. Clearly, it didn't cost me that, because here's my receipt for materials I bought, and I'm doing it myself. So we just sort of, I don't remember, I wasn't in charge of issuing the permits at that time, I don't remember how it was resolved, but this is very clear, and so it's a standard approach, which I like personally, I don't like.
What's clear on, though, it's clear only on it if it's outside, not if it's inside.
Well, it gives the homeowner some idea of how to fill out that value, because
Right.
if it's something they're doing themselves, we can figure out a value, because as it says, the building code formulas, like they say
Right.
for decks, it's X number of dollars per square foot, and
Mhm.
Tom has that chart, and he
Right.
would apply a value, but somebody should be presenting a value when they fill out the building permit, and that would give a homeowner some kind of guideline, whether it's inside or outside work, that they bought X number of dollars worth of materials.
But it would be hard to find those who aren't coming and doing this on inside projects.
Oh, yeah, no, well,
When they
it-
sell their
right,
homes,
well, there's
we
that.
notice that there are pictures of really fancy insides
Right.
Yeah,
that we knew
yeah.
weren't
This,
there.
this
Yeah,
is, this is
yeah.
not gonna stop the people that are just not gonna fill out the form.
But you're
I
right.
mean, that's not gonna, but we do have a lot of very earnest people in town that
Mhm.
fill out these forms, and they'll say, oh, it's only $500 worth of value, because that's what it cost them in materials, and they're
Mhm.
doing the work. Well, that's the material cost, but it's not really what the actual value is. And so this is, at least has a standard, maybe this isn't the right formula, but at least there's a standard formula that helps guide them, and I like that. I like more specificity in the building permit process, because then it becomes more uniform.
Yes.
And that's what we strive for. Just like you said, if we see, just because, I notice a neighbor doing something, and maybe I don't like that one, I do like this one, and they're both doing the same work, well, both of them should be getting a building permit, so. So again, it's just more equity, I think, within the process. We don't have to adopt it tonight, but I thought it was nice that they were both thinking about this and brought it forward for us, so.
And you can consider different dollar amounts, it's
Yeah.
something that can, you can think about over time.
Just because it works for Durham doesn't mean that's the amount that would work for Rollinsford, for sure.
And certainly, you know, there are a lot of categories and we don't have to share all the same categories and things like that, but
No.
they wanted you to consider.
Like, I don't know why they charge so much for a driveway building permit. I mean,
So that's because of the planning perspective and making sure that you are, so you'd have to bring the road agent out to consider
so
traffic
this
implications.
is
and
more
safety.
for the, well,
If you're putting a new one in, right?
So,
yeah, it
If
must.
you already have an existing one, all you're putting is an.
Right, all you're doing is.
well, so that's,
Replacing it.
that's an interesting point because it has to meld with our zoning ordinance. Because currently with the zoning ordinance, you need a building permit for a driveway. But maybe it's not fair to call that, you know, the material cost, you know, the construction cost of that. Maybe this is a more equitable fee, particularly if it exists already.
Mhm.
But if, for new driveways though, you really ought to
That's part of
have,
the planning process, and there's already fees associated with all that, right? That's part of the filing fees, I'm assuming. It's all being reviewed under that.
it is if it's a
umbrella.
subdivision, but if you have single, you're right, probably.
I mean,
I'm not, somehow I'm thinking of situations that I don't think went through planning, but particularly like second and third, you know, like multiple drive, you know, you wanna access the back of your lot, so you install another egress, you know?
So then that would be, this might be a good category for that then. Putting in a new driveway that way, separate from a normal building permit.
Well, but, I mean, you know, it's something to consult our zoning
New
ordinance
construction
about,
building
because
permit.
maybe it doesn't make sense the way we currently do
Yeah.
driveways.
Something to think about, for sure.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's something, yeah, we should think about is,
So like we currently,
Is it
that's the
consistent?
septic, right? We currently, what is it, $50 or $25 fee for septic?
25.
25, well, is that's not on our application, is it currently?
No,
So-
actually,
So that's like this, it would be good to add that on, I mean.
yes, it would be.
Sign permits, including sidewalk signs. So if someone wants to put a sandwich board out in Durham, it costs you $25 apparently. For the building inspector to come by and say, yep, that's a sandwich board on the sidewalk, wow. Interesting. Anyways. So, it's something to consider.
But demolition, we currently don't charge for demolition, or maybe we
Right.
do only if it has utilities, it doesn't happen a lot.
I think it does with
It
utilities.
does with utilities, so this one is
Yeah.
just
What
flat.
does that mean it does with utilities?
So if you have a single-family home that's hooked up to water and sewer,
Yeah,
then you demo the home, it costs $50 because you have to make sure the utilities are shut off properly.
oh,
And electric.
But if you're demoing a barn that was never hooked up to utilities,
Yeah.
then there's no permit fee for that.
Or shed or whatever.
We still require a permit, but there's no fee because we want to log the change to the property.
okay.
Yeah, it's your advantage,
Right,
because it lowers your assessment.
to get rid of a structure.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very dark up there.
God, it's creepy out there.
It's very dark and light at the same time, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
An eerie glow,
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
Well, let's get through this then before the sky opens up. So we don't have to take action on this. I did want us to talk about it, start thinking about it. 'Cause I think some of these changes make a lot of sense. They'll streamline in the process and to make them more equitable across the town. So, again, I think that's what we should always be striving for. So we'll put that on hold for now. All right, employee recognition dinner. So we've heard back from the school. If we use their refrigerator or their freezer, and if we want to use their kitchen, which I guess I should have just led with that, not the refrigerator, whatever, we need to have the staff member present, they're saying.
And perhaps even two.
Perhaps
Because the
two.
kitchen person wants to be there.
That's
but you
what
may
I'm
also-
talking about.
But you may also need
Need
a
a
custodian
custodian
if you're
too,
gonna
so-
not eat in the kitchen.
I'm not sure that the school is probably the best place to do it at this point. That it's the nicest place, but
I'm gonna give you my honest opinion.
Sure.
I don't think we have enough time to have it the week that we, I mean, it takes a long time to plan an event of this size. And also the weekend that we had picked is the first part of 4th of July week. And you may have some conflicts with people not
You
being
wanna do
able
it
to
later in the
go.
summer then?
I'm just saying, we need to have a little more time to work on it, because,
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't talked about anything about the dinner or any of that kind of stuff yet, so I don't know. That's my opinion, I mean, I've just done enough dinners with
Respect
the
that,
fire
sure.
department and, you know, it takes a lot of planning. And it's a lot of money too, and I'm not sure where we're gonna get that from.
So, okay, so do we wanna postpone it then until the fall? Or we should pick a date then? Do it towards the fall or later in the summer then?
I don't know, what do you think?
I would suggest not further into the summer itself, because you're gonna lose, everybody takes vacations at different
Yeah.
times. So then, yes, I would say fall, you have more.
September-ish or early
planning
October
time.
or something?
Okay. Just look at the,
Do you know what your departure date is?
no,
Do you know what the month of your departure date is?
sometime this summer, so.
It's this summer.
Before the dinner. So, well, you all can pick a date then, but maybe, I wouldn't do it
Well,
the
like-
first week of September because that's Labor Day.
No, it's sometimes September.
When is Family Fun Day?
I haven't got a date yet, because
Okay.
it's not available to me
Oh, okay,
for the date I wanted.
all right, well then you don't, yeah.
Because I only can have Sundays now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've got weddings, good for them, I mean,
Yeah, no, it is
their
good for them.
business is booming, but my options are
So
Sundays.
Saturdays are out then,
Yeah.
even in August?
We didn't have very good success in the summer months.
I was
so
gonna
it
ask you that, it
more-
was later, right?
It
Last
was,
year?
yeah, no, we
okay.
always do September, the third week of September. But when we did it in August, we did not have very good participation.
All right.
So we would rather stay, we're probably gonna go into early October,
Okay,
so.
so then you have options for September then? You did it then?
I had, yeah, oh yeah, well, the third week of September I'm not available, but, other than that.
All right.
I mean, we talk about it again when Miles comes in.
Well, we are running out of time, that's the problem.
Yeah.
We kept, yeah.
I don't, I mean, and then I saw the school thing, which is kind of,
Yeah, I
not
think
sure
you're-
what they were
you're-
worried about.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but I think you're probably the best place gonna be at the fire station. That's, I mean, there's a kitchen there, they have plenty of tables that they use for the pancake breakfast.
I'd like to kind of get a feel of a head count, because again, you can't plan a menu if you don't know how many people are gonna come, when you don't wanna overcook or undercook or whatever you're gonna do.
Right.
And so, I'd like to, maybe talk to each of the department heads and see if they can put a sign-up sheet of some sort and kind of give it time
Right.
and see, how many people are, I mean, I don't even know how many employees we can have total at the
Well,
transfer station.
you could leave it, if you want just an employee count, I can give you an employee count and you can double it.
Well, yeah, you mean for all three departments?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, if you can at least start there, and then we would have to have them confirm whether or not they're gonna come, so then you can modify your calendar.
But we can start with the count, because that gives you,
The most.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
most,
Because,
and then,
yeah.
and then, you can plan for not more than that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a place to start, and then, based on that, you can pick a date.
So let's leave the date alone for now. If you give me that, I will work on it and come up with a plan and see what we can do. All right,
Yep.
and see, I am a little concerned about that weekend only because it's the first weekend of a holiday, which is like the most popular holiday week. A lot of people take that week off. So, but, we could go deeper into July or a little bit, once you get away from that weekend. But yeah, if you give me the total employee count, and I will come up with some thoughts. Okay.
Works for me.
Okay.
Gas expansion, do we have the letter in here?
You do.
And
in this folder here. There you go. This one?
So, Unitil, right? Unitil was in last week, representing Northern Utilities, which is part of Unitil. They would like to expand service in Rollins, they'd like a letter of support from the select board. They don't need to have it, but they would like to have one. Which I think we would probably want, if there are customers that want the service, we might want to encourage it. This is just the first step in a very lengthy process. You have to go through the planning process with PUC, so it's not a done deal, it's just whether or not we want options for residents, that they want options for their utilities.
It's not binding in any fashion,
Nope.
right? I mean, it's just saying that,
The PUC could say, nope, sorry, you don't get to do it.
yeah.
Which, I
Yeah.
don't know why they would, but they could, they certainly could. So, do we want me to sign
Do we
this?
need to make a motion? Do we need to have it as a motion?
Sure, let's do that.
I'll make a motion that we sign the letter supporting the gas expansion in Rollinsford with Unitil.
I'll second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Wish them the best of luck in their endeavors. That back.
He knows it exists, it just needs a signature at some point.
Just need a signature on that.
This is from last week.
Yeah.
All right.
What is that?
This is the 2019 pay rate for the police chief. Showing the increase. It was, because it's a separate line, it was separate from all the other officers. And so the chief got a 3%, same as his officers, of a base merit, not merit. Cost of living.
Right.
Merit is for the officers.
Yeah.
All right, there's that. We're putting that one, the dinner on hold. Gas expansion we did, we're not gonna do the policy reviews. I'd like to have Miles here. Because the one you were gonna talk about this evening was the rules of procedure and policies for the select board. So it'd be nice to have everyone here, especially those of you that are gonna be living under them. So. All right, so we have standing activities, board member activities. That's what you have going on.
Nothing.
A rare occasion.
I don't think I have rec, I have to get that
You
confirmed.
just did a lot of rec. You
Yeah, we just did a lot of rec, yeah, so I have a quiet week, thank goodness.
All right,
I need
that's
it.
actually mine. Perfect, yeah, I went, we had a cemetery cleanup this weekend, the first parish cemetery.
How'd that go? Good?
It was good, it was the beginning, we're gonna need another probably day or two. We did, pulled out a lot of down limbs and brush like that. And we have a lot of leaves to take out. We took out 4 or 5 bags. So we filled up an entire Mark Kuchar's trailer
Mm-hmm.
full of tree limbs and things, so. So it's gonna
That's
be
nice.
another weekend. Yeah, but it's the first town clerk for the town of Somersworth, which Rollinsford was part of, is buried there. Dr. Carr, Moses Carr, and all those people.
I'm really impressed with the cemetery folks too, with our new landscaping.
Yeah, they're doing a
And I
nice
think
job
they did
of
a
it.
really good
Yeah.
job, it was nice.
So that's what I did for part of my day yesterday. So I think that's, can't think of anything else. What did we, something else met last week? CBA? That was historical, wasn't it?
CBA did.
CBA met last week, and
They got their.
did they approve the exemption? Is that what I,
Special exception,
special exemption?
yes.
Was there anything else on it? That was the only thing on the agenda, right? That's a
Yes.
property on Oak Street.
Yes. It was a 3-2 vote. There was a lot of contention and
I heard.
indecision and discussion, and they worked hard to get to that.
So it's gonna go forward?
It's
Fair
gonna go
enough.
forward.
We're gonna allow a duplex to
So-
be built off of an easement without enough road frontage on the side
So,
of the cliff.
what they learned is that you cannot apply zoning to a non-conforming lot because it predates zoning as a non-conforming lot. So a property owner has the right to develop a lot in some way. So they have the right to bring forward a proposal, and if it doesn't work, they can bring, it doesn't pass, they can bring forward another proposal, but you can't say that you can't develop a parcel. Otherwise, it's really upon the town to buy that parcel from them if it has no value. And so it was when the conversation got to that point that I think the dynamic on the board flipped, because they could have come to the ZBA and asked for 2 single-family dwellings, but that would have encroached on wetlands, and it would have had a bigger footprint, and it would have had more traffic. And so one person, realizing that that would have been the alternative, flipped and voted for it, because so it's a duplex on what will be a combined, still non-conforming lot, but it'll at least not encroach on the wetlands, and it'll be less traffic than the alternative. And if you favor this over encroaching on the wetlands and a bigger footprint,
Yeah. So now, where does it go? Does it go to the planning board?
it
or
goes
is
to
done?
planning, it goes to
Goes back to
planning
planning.
again for,
Because it's non-conforming lot approved. to-
well, right, so the idea got approved, the planning board can put more conditions and
Mhm.
such on it, but, the process is still ahead of them, but the idea and concept is approved.
How did, Colin go? Did he go?
He has not submitted an application yet,
Oh, okay.
but intends to. There's a few more things coming up to ZBA. They'll be busy this year.
And I thought he was here, maybe he wasn't here, maybe it was like for planning or something.
He was here, I don't recall if that was last,
He came to see us a couple of.
But then he came the next
but then he
day,
went the
the
next
next
day to
day?
planning board,
Oh, it was
and,
planning.
yeah.
And they said he had to go to zoning?
Which is
Yes,
what we're told.
yes. It was a very similar conversation, Mr. Hinsman, after about 2 years of deliberating over that project, did not want to, he was not eager to undo it all. He didn't see a point in that. He was also very professional in handling the situation, letting the applicant know that it's not a duly published meeting, so they for that application, it's not really an application yet. So with no abutters present to express how they feel about things, you really have to be careful not to relay feelings about how you might handle a case. So he let them speak and just said ZBA. So they will be doing that.
All right. We have, we'll start with that folder, whatever folder you want to start with.
Oh, okay, we're there,
We're
okay.
there.
All right, we have,
Oh, wait, sorry, we didn't do, your update, Caroline. Sorry.
oh,
It's okay.
Yep.
So
I think we're keeping part of it,
we're finishing assessing, we're finalizing all the updates to assessing. Tax bills are going out at the end of next week, the newsletter's getting finalized, so we're there with those processes, the exemption credits have been entered into the system. So that's coming along. Other than that, there's stormwater, Wednesday night, reviewing the potential for the grant opportunity and looking at sending out mailings. But Paul Cazal came in last week, I guess, and Friday, we had a good conversation about next steps and action items, and he's really doing a fantastic job, I have to say, working with the state and the local committee and keeping us on track. So once we get this new position hired, we've got interviews this week, starting tomorrow afternoon, and then Wednesday afternoon for the bookkeeper position, and then once we get that up and running, I'll help carry some of Paul's stormwater load, because he's been carrying really more than we should be asking of volunteer for
Right.
something so highly regulated. So, it's coming along.
We're doing interviews on Tuesday and Wednesday?
Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday
I'm here
afternoon.
Wednesday afternoon.
Yes, and I have emailed you the resumes of everybody for both days, as well as interview questions. If you want to add anything,
I think what I'll do is I'll review them part of them tomorrow. Maybe tonight, and I'll give you a call. What time is the interview starting tomorrow?
noon.
This is what tomorrow looks like for me. I don't know if it'll be feeling well enough.
It's a long afternoon,
No, he's not feeling well.
yeah.
I have a meeting at work from 10:30 to noon, so,
If you can get here after and miss a few of them, that's great. Otherwise, I would prefer to carry on, because I'm concerned
I
about
don't want to
losing
have to
people
reschedule all those people, right?
and lose them.
Call it 4. What time is the last one scheduled?
Four maybe, I'm not sure. They go in 45-minute intervals, starting at noon.
I think I have anything else. All right, so I'll go to that meeting in the morning and I'll come over and give you a hand.
Text me before you leave, and
Might be
hopefully I
fine.
will have spoken to Miles and see
Okay, yeah, I mean.
Miles is
If
doing.
he's feeling better, he can make it in, that'd be great, but if not, okay. And, I'll definitely be here on Wednesday. We're starting at what time on Wednesday?
Actually, there's not anyone for the first slot, so I think 2:15, but you have the sheet, you have the full schedule.
Oh, it's
In your
on, okay.
email.
All right, perfect. All right. Look at that tonight tomorrow. All right. Anything else in?
Okay, so.
I'm sorry, don't you?
I'm all
Yep,
set.
she's all done, okay. This is a letter from you to, Andrea and Joseph Anderson about a pool installation. Funding they've already done.
What now?
Needing
It's a
a
pool
building-
installation.
needing a-
Building permit for folks. Yes, if you're putting in a pool, you need a building permit.
Oh, so
This is Townsend's.
that is Townsend's proposal for the town hall boiler. It's actually two different proposals. Both are, I believe both are cast iron.
Is the first one, I want to look at that. There are components of the first one that are, the Vidaris boiler is a cast iron.
I think they both are. But I forwarded the email to you this afternoon.
I read them again to see what the, and I want to,
We can ask follow-up questions too, if you,
yeah, I want to do a little more research on the first option. I mean, my gut reaction is go with the Vidaris, it's a much better boiler, but I want to make sure that the size, I mean, they've come in and they've taken a look at the facility and what the size they're suggesting, right, is going to be sufficient. I just want to make sure that, because the cursory sort of research I did today, this is one of their larger boilers, Vidaris that is. So it's not the largest, but it's certainly more powerful than what's down there currently. So, but I would like to look at, I don't know enough about the other,
I
the other
didn't print out
manufacturer.
the manufacturer pamphlets, but you have them in your email.
Yeah, I know, and I looked at them, but I'd like to do, I like looking at what the companies have to say about their product, but I'd also like to
Sure,
do some,
reviews.
look for
Yeah.
online reviews. And I know the reputation of Vidaris and how they're, you know, one of the best boilers you could buy, so, they can be, clearly Townsend is installing it, so they'll have someone that can maintain it. they're sort of specialized, so, my reading glasses, I can't look up and down. If you have to have someone that actually knows how to maintain that specific type of system. It's not like a normal, just a boiler or, you know, HVAC system, they're sort of specialized. But if they're installing it, clearly they have someone that can do that, so. So, I guess that's my long-winded way of saying, I don't want to vote on this tonight, but I want to do a little more research.
No,
I
that's
started to today, but I don't have, I want to be able to answer a few more questions in my mind. And so if anyone asks, well, why did you definitely go with this company versus the other one? I want to be able to answer all the questions as best as I can. Anyways, there's a few outstanding things in my head that I want to go with, so if that's all right.
Okay.
But it needs to be done, and I want to make sure that quote is still, we also want to make sure those quotes are still valid, so.
I thought it was on hold.
It's all up for discussion.
All right.
All right, I have a purchase order, for SHI, purchase order number 1635 for, how many computers?
Well, so that's the conversation, is, so the quote attached is for 3 computers and 1 monitor. I didn't fill out quantities on the purchase order because I wasn't sure if you would be ready to do that whole thing. So to do the whole thing, that whole quote would be $1,000 over budget. We budgeted to replace 1 computer this year. But Tom LaBelle is concerned because all the front office computers are using Microsoft's Windows 7, which is no longer going to be supported at the end of January.
Right.
So Kate's computer is acting up and should be replaced sooner rather than later. You can do the 1 computer. SHI is the vendor that Tom finds gives us the best discounts for government. They
Okay.
have better and different discounts for the school. He uses them for there as well. These are better prices than he thought he was gonna get. They seem to be having a May sale. So he thought it would be $300 more than that. So to do the whole thing would be $1,000 over budget. But you can also wait.
Where's the other 2 computers gonna be?
The DMV computer and Andrea's computer.
And what's wrong with hers?
They're old. It's just
Oh,
that,
okay.
it's just that they're old and due to be replaced, but also that they are running Windows 7. So it would be, he would prefer to, since they're old anyway, to replace them rather than install a patch, because it also takes a lot more time to install a patch. And you know, it's a little bit more precarious on an older computer.
So it's a DMV computer, it's Andrea's computer, and what's the third one?
Kate's
Oh,
desk
so what's
computer.
wrong with the DMV computer?
Only that it's old. It's
Only
not
that it's
having-
old. Oh,
So
okay.
Andrea's computer and the DMV computer are not currently having any issues, except that they're running Windows 7, which is soon to be no longer supported. So
Which
he's,
means it will run, it just, if something happens, you can't get support for it.
he's more concerned about security risks. He would rather patch them and not wait. So it's not an immediate issue because it's, you know, they are supported until the end of January, which is a different budget year if you do it right away. But you're getting better pricing right now by
Yeah.
doing the 3 of them.
So you pay more if you wait versus,
So, you know, you can handle it either way, but your best course of action is to do at least 1 of them because Kate's is acting up,
Yeah.
her desk computer.
okay, so you have a new computer.
I do.
And
the
what
assessing,
Windows do you?
and I've got 10,
You
and
have
the
10.
assessing one is new and it has 10.
Okay,
So it's just those 3, and then we don't even have to budget for a new computer next year because they're all new.
okay, so the assessing one is new?
Yes.
Is that the one that the new
The
hire is gonna
bookkeeper
be,
would
will
use
the
that
assessing
one. Well, so we should still have something, we had talked about a computer for the board to use, it could be perhaps an old computer, but really the assessing computer and the bookkeeper computer should not ultimately be the same computer. We can get by on it for now, but there's enough activity to happen on the assessing computer that we're gonna have conflicts with one workstation with
Mhm.
2 different needs.
Mhm.
So I would hope that's a temporary situation, and for that reason, maybe we are gonna try to budget for a new computer next year. We'll see how scheduling works out with this new person
Mhm.
and how that works out with assessing and like that.
So can we possibly just budget for the new one for the assessing? Can you take like Andrea's and bring it in here on a temporary basis and then,
Tom doesn't want any of the new computers running without he would say no. I mean, it's up to you, of course. He's advising that you either replace the old ones or that you run the Windows 10 patch. But to do the Windows 10 patch there's a cost for that software update, but then it's gonna take him more time, like 3 or 4
how old
hours.
is Andrea's?
Everything up there is 4 years old, which is about as old as he would want them to ever be.
Okay, so we have for IT software and services, which this is gonna come under, right? We have budgeted $10,640.
And so Google comes out of that,
Right.
his time comes out of that. There was one computer budgeted for $1,000.
Okay, so this is $2,000 that we're talking about, so.
If you were to do the whole thing,
Right,
yes.
for 3.
But also tax, clerk's, budget is going to come, like we have some flex in there too that we allocate money for it, right? Cause her elections, cause her
Not
elec-
buying the stand, right, the booth?
yeah.
Well, that got taken out though.
Yeah, but she
Did it?
has savings in her, if she's not gonna have any more elections, there's savings in the election line.
Yes,
So we could move that to the computer line.
you can move money around anyway,
Well, I know,
absolutely,
but we know
yes.
nothing's gonna happen on that line.
Yes,
So there's potential savings there that we can move it. I would say we should just do all 3 of them then and
So did you move purchase order?
I haven't, did I? I don't know.
you did, but without a total.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because if you're getting a really good price, next year's gonna be higher for sure. Okay,
Potentially, yeah.
so I'm moving purchase order 1635 for $2,052 for 3 computers, 1 monitor, and a Belkin display port, whatever that is, for one of them as well. Yeah, it's for cable, so,
Second. All right. Any other discussion?
it's not it.
Purchase orders?
No, it's not that.
What am I looking for?
City of Dover.
Yeah, might as well hold off on Dover for a moment. Purchase order 1635 has been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, so we get the computers that will be able to be used and safely monitored by Mr. LaBelle and installed so that we don't have to worry about security issues.
All right.
So,
I have a purchase order 1614 for the city of Dover for vehicle repairs to a engine 1 and tank 1, coolant leak repair, and a heater control repair. The total is $274.86 to the city of Dover.
all right, second it. Any discussion on purchase order 1614? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, all right.
That's all I have in here.
All right, so first thing we have in here is deed of burial plot is number 19-01 to Michael and Lilia, Lilia Meserve. The amount of $350. It's two graves. We just have to sign off on it. All right, what do we got here? Animal population control program fees. This is an advisory to from the town clerk. This is to certify that during the period of May 1, 2018 to April 30th, 2019, I issued 538 dog licenses as town clerk in accordance with the provisions of RSA 466:4, Roman 1 subsection B and section AGR 28004-02, that's the state agricultural rules. I'm enclosing herewith the sum of $1,076, representing $2 for each license issued by me in the mentioned time period. So, what else we got there? During the issue 538. Oh, sorry.
So
So
it's
dog
the state-
license fees from,
We collect them on behalf of the state,
Of the
and so
state.
that's the state's portion of the fee.
and so from May 1st, 2018 to April 30th, 2019, she's certifying that she issued 538 dog licenses in accordance with the provisions of RSA 466:9. Roman 2, I am enclosing herewith the sum of $269, representing 50 cents for each license issued by me also. That must be for different things, obviously, it doesn't say what, but one goes for 2 different programs apparently. One's for population control and one's for fees. So the total that the town clerk has to mail the state is $1,345. It's just advisory, so everyone understands that's where your money goes.
Are you going to
And,
sign it?
no. We do have to sign this though, which I wish I'd seen it underneath, it would have just read this. So I'm gonna move purchase order 1721, although, should it be a purchase order or should it be a,
I don't know what it is, sorry.
it's to pay the state, the $1,345. It really should be a disbursement, shouldn't it? But we have this, so next time, for next year, if we want to let her know. So I've moved for purchase order 1721 to the State Department of Agriculture. For a second.
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, me too. All right, so we will pay the state their dog fees. Do this. Sell those nice folks their plot.
There's a purchase order behind it.
Ah. This is the note from the State Department of Motor Vehicles to let our town clerk know that the state was kind enough to issue us a Lexmark T640 printer that is owned and maintained by the state of New Hampshire. The T640 printer is at the end of life and there are no plans at this time to offer replacements. So basically they're telling us we gotta buy our own printer.
Right, so I advised her to have a purchase order filled out just so that she would have the authority to buy one
Right.
the minute she needed one.
Okay.
It is still operational.
Right, but still, if we're gonna be able to issue,
Again, another non-budget item.
Correct.
this would be an
It's-
unfunded mandate.
It's an
for the state.
unfunded mandate is what it is. The state is saying you shall have this printer, but we are no longer going to provide it for you. Without any notice, by the way.
Do you have to return the one that you have?
That's not clear.
Mhm.
I don't know if she's had it, she was gonna look into that. I don't know what the answer to that is.
Should let Representative Chase know that our displeasure with the State Department of Motor Vehicles. Not that poor Wendy can do anything about it, but anyways. All right, well, we need a printer, so.
So it doesn't mean that the money will
Up
be
to,
spent.
up to the amount of $1,000.
Does she have to buy this from a special place? I mean, it's not something Tom can get her, or?
I don't know, and actually,
It says
why
you
don't
need
you hold, does it have a vendor in mind? I don't know that it does, so my guess is she doesn't have a vendor listed, which negates the idea of a purchase order.
Computer Hut, it says.
Oh, okay.
So why don't we read through here just to see, it says here that, so this letter from DMV is saying that, these are your requirements that you have to have. There are, like the size of the tray the paper goes in, all of these
Yeah.
things, there are, how many?
Before we approve this, can we just have Tom look and see if
7
it's something that he can get cheaper?
I think that's
I
worthwhile.
think that's a wise course of action.
Because I don't
He
think that
was
she would
here,
even
she was
ask.
discussing with this with him. I
Yeah.
don't know if they've had the conversation about having SHI quote it or not. But I
Okay,
can
so,
So
certainly-
one more week. He can wait.
Well, it can
longer.
absolutely wait, because it's still functional. It's
Yeah.
just something to have in place for when she needs it, so that we're not down for a period of time.
So she's on a listserv of
Town clerks.
other town clerks that are also DMV agents. Certainly all of them. And they've listed, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different printers that different towns use that meet all of the requirements that the state requires the printer to meet. So I think that's what she's basing it off of. But, I mean,
Well, did
I
she
think-
pick a particular one of those, and you know, like, maybe Tom could evaluate what the cheapest of
See
those
maybe we
5
can get
options
less,
is at
yeah.
which vendor.
Yeah, let's just hold off, in my opinion, let's hold off and see
If you
what
could-
Tom can do for
So-
us.
If you could put it back in the red folder, I'll have a conversation with her
Okay.
about it.
okay. I mean, so here's the thing that I just wanna make sure we're aware of. We're not meeting next Monday, so if for some reason the printer,
It's
Well,
their
she's not-
printer until the end of June.
no. Well, they're not replacing it. They've already said it doesn't matter if it breaks down or not.
Oh, really?
Replacing it,
I thought we were good until the end of
so.
June.
No, well,
No,
But I
there's
don't
the
think we're gonna get a
statement for us.
printer till the end of June with all the right software and.
just,
I think
I've
we,
put it
it's
back in before.
unexpended, I mean, it's unbudgeted thing, I think we should at least do our due diligence to check pricing with Tom.
So you just signed the tax levy for, I'll just read it to you, for 2019. To Andrea Cass, collector of taxes for Rollinsford, New Hampshire, and said county, Stratford. In the name of the state, you are hereby directed to collect the property taxes in the list herewith committed to you, amounting to the sum of $3,382,783, and with interest at 8% per annum from July 1, 2019 thereafter, on all sums not paid on or before that day. We further order you to remit all monies collected to the town treasurer or the town treasurer designee, at least on a weekly basis or daily whenever tax receipts total over $1,500 or more. So it's the
Tax warrant.
it's the tax levy, the tax warrant, to cover what we passed.
So the board has to approve the total tax bill that is about to go out. That's what that is.
Oh, okay,
And it covers what was approved town meeting
okay.
for the new, the July bill. Or June, depending on when it hits, I guess. So. We need to sign off on it so she can send out the tax
What's the
bills.
dollar amount? 3,300,000.
3,382,783.
Got it.
What's this interest thing about?
So if you don't pay your taxes by the due date, then the town charges you, what is it, 9% or what's that?
8,
Huh?
8.
8% interest on the overdue amounts.
Who is this from?
It's from us.
She drafted it for you, but it,
Oh.
like, for you to sign, so she has used the assessing software to calculate this amount, and you need to sign off on the idea that she's about to issue tax bills that total this
Oh.
amount.
So we're sending this letter to her,
Yes.
but she
Yes.
wrote it to, okay,
Yeah,
got
She
it,
Yes.
handles the letter, drafting the letter for us,
got it.
and always had, I think the prior tax collector, I'm sure did as well.
Yes,
Okay.
But this is the formality, we have to say, you have to collect this
Yeah.
tax
yes,
Okay,
on our behalf.
yes.
got it.
It is a
Because-
little
and it
backwards.
it does, exactly, but, and it's,
It's the nature of your position.
right, and
and
it
hers
corresponds to
that-
the amount of money that we need to raise based on what was approved at town meeting.
Okay.
And then we have to deal with the other half of the tax year. Okay, so we have 2 more. Deed of burial lot, we have, where they come with these numbers, okay. This one is number NT08-08B. It's for,
Plainview Town,
pardon?
NT's Plainview Town.
Yeah, well, but, looking at the dollar amount for it. Town,
Is it on the back? Is it on the back?
the town of Rollinsford, the county of Stratford, the consideration paid hereby grant, and their heirs, assessors, successors rather, and assigns forever one lot of land in the town, Newtown Cemetery is for 4. And to hold the 4 mentioned. We just did one of these, and it was different. Oh, completely. Okay. Well, I can't tell you how much it's worth, it's not on here.
This one had it,
This one had it.
so.
So that's
let's
how
not
I
sign it
know.
and Send it back.
Well, I don't wanna hold anything up, but, well, what's this one?
I'm not gonna sign it if it doesn't have it on it.
Oh wait, I think that they already own them. They've already purchased them. This is just a signing, okay. So there are not 4 graves within this plot that this family has purchased. One, so number of graves is 4, is the same last name. One is section 08B, one is section 08C. So it must be assigning ownership of these, so they're also owners.
Because they're different names.
They're also owners of lots that have already been sold, that's why.
Okay.
We get there eventually. I'm sure this is not the first time I've seen one of these either, but I apologize, anyways. They've already been purchased, they're just assigning. We should let these poor people, nice people
Let them
have their
final
plots.
resting.
Not worry about it, your mark has it well under control. Overly complicate things. And that's it, and this red folder, I think.
So both of those were 08, 08.
Oh, I'm sorry, and the second one is.
0808B and 0808C, NT in front of it.
Yeah.
So the only thing that was different is one is 08C and one is 08B. Right?
Yeah, and there's names listed on them. I'll just send it back over so you can see it. I think maybe it was a separation or something.
Clearly, there are plots that they own already, it's just assigning to the individuals. I don't know the circumstances. I think, mercifully, it is the end of the evening. Any other community input? Are we ready for that? Are we good? We don't have any non-public lists or anything like
We're
that?
good.
No welfare?
Yeah.
No. Any other community input for the evening? All right, well then, by consensus, we are adjourning at 8:31 PM. Have a nice night.
Have a safe Memorial Day weekend, though.
And a safe Memorial Day.
Oh, wait a minute, let me see something. I didn't put, I didn't match the name of the name.
I need this. This is for me. I need to fill this out. Thank you.
While I was sitting there, I got the whole wreath done except for the middle.
There you go. We'd only gone a little while longer for you.
Oh, I don't have the middle with me.
Ah, well, then I'm glad you done what you needed to do. Here's this, we'll have this for next